Hey guys, Don here. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. I'm going to go over today about how to create value in a clinic as an associate. I think this is going to be helpful for you if you are an associate at a practice, or also if you're a doctor kind of looking for an associate to see kind of what type of work that they're doing. I'd love to hear your feedback on this, but I'm going to do this kind of from our personal experience. And I'm going to do it from Chat GPT. So you're going to laugh. I do this a lot of times now. Within my WhatsApp app, there's something called Meta AI, and so I can ask questions. And I put the question here: what are some do's and don'ts for new associates in a podiatry medical practice? I'm not going to start with it. I'm going to start with kind of my things. So first, do when you're not with your patients. When you're starting out, you're going to have more time. I would recommend shadowing the doctors. I really think by far this is the best way for you to learn how to treat patients, even though you may finish with a high power residency, you know how to do surgery, the treatments and how you speak and explain to patients. If you didn't have a very busy clinic, or maybe even if you did, you have to learn how the other doctors do it in the clinic. So I think that is something by far the best in kind of learning how they treat things, why they treat it the way they do, how they explain things, especially like the wording they use, really helps a lot. I did that in the beginning when I was in the practice here with my partner Neil, and it was really helpful. Even the things that he said back in the day, I still use today. So I would say do that, spending time with the other doctors in the practice. Okay. Would be learn to be valuable for the practice. Like figure out what your value point is, like what you can bring of value. Just some examples. So for me, I speak Portuguese and Spanish, so I can kind of see those patients. That might be valuable. There is one of the other doctors that works here. He does like long distance running, and so that was kind of his niche with track coaches. He went out and met all the track coaches, did lectures for these track associations, was able to get those. So figure out a way that you can be individually valuable for the clinic. I think that's something that's very important. Learn to sell. I know this is kind of like it sounds like a dirty word, but you really have to learn how to explain things to patients the right way so that they're going to take your recommendations. This is most likely like orthotics or shockwave or any of these other types of things, how good we are at explaining things. And this just takes practice. So you have to get good at that, learning that. Other do's, learn to do the largest checks well. This goes back to selling, but like what are the largest checks in your office? And what I call largest checks are the things that produce the greatest amount of revenue in your practice. So for us, it's orthotics, AFOs, um, for shockwave, amnio injections, things like that. Learning how to do those things really well is going to help produce more revenue in the practice. Learn the EMR. I think this is something real important that a lot of times when I first started here, we were switching from LITech MD, from MediNotes to LITech MD, and they said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about learning, MediNotes because we're switching to the new one." And now we're all the way into Athena, so we've been through another rendition after that. But I just didn't worry about learning it, and it really made my job a lot harder by not learning the MRI. I think if you're just getting out, learning the EMR can make your job a lot easier. Other things like do be nice and friendly to the staff, because the staff talk. And if there's an associate that is mean to them or maybe pushes them or bullies them or things like that, that's something that you don't want. You'd want to bring ideas to the office. So new ideas. So for example, when Ben started here, we did not have shockwave. And he, being the runner and athlete, he liked the sports med stuff. He said, we have to get one of these. And, we were looking at it and no one else really had it around here. And we ended up getting the shockwave. And it's been like one of the best game changers in our practice. So this was done by a new associate, kind of a new idea. We're going to be bringing in another technology that's called Swift, and bringing that. This other doctor brought in Qtenza. So we're trying to bring in new kind of treatments into the office, and I think that's something good for a new doctor. Maybe not everything is going to be accepted right away, but then over time it might be accepted or make it better. I bringing a scribe. So bringing a scribe took a few years to get the idea of bringing it in, but now that it's in our office, it's producing a lot more revenue. Okay. Do learn social media and email marketing if you have time, or even if you don't have time, if you have an inkling towards it. But learning social media, learning email marketing, storytelling, things like that can be very beneficial for your practice. It's going to make you more valuable for the practice if you're doing that or you volunteer to do that. And one thing is like, don't be worried about payment. I know a lot of times everyone's worried about, oh, what am I going to get paid for this and things like that. I would say just be as valuable as you can for the clinic. I think that's the most important. The money will come over time, but try to be valuable, because wherever you're going to be at, you're going to be valuable as you go on. Okay. Go meet people, go meet referral sources. If you're not seeing patients in the beginning, you're not as busy. Block the patients for the first half of the day and then go visit people. Go visit a lot of people that could be referral sources. Start with the more potential ones like primary care doctors, urgent cares, and things like that. And then you can go to shoe stores, chiropractors, other types of referral sources. Get out there, meet them, bring cards, introduce yourself, set up a meet and greet or something like that. It's not a comfortable thing to do, but it's really, really beneficial for the practice. Did that in the beginning. Call patients after surgery and after procedures. I have a method where I have my printout every day of the patients that I see. And when I do procedures on them, I will highlight those names. And then the next day when I come in, I will call them or have my staff call them. And so it's just a good way. So you use your patient appointment sheet here that you have in your desk, and you just highlight the ones. That's what I do. I just highlight the ones that I want to call the next day. So that's something easy to do. It'll make the patients feel better. I always call my patients also after surgery, right, and after different procedures in the office. Send thank you cards both to patients and other people. Just being polite. I think being a nice person, I think, is good. Keep busy during work hours. Don't just like surf the net. Don't just play video games. We've had some people that have done that in the past. If they're not seeing patients, they're just bored seeing video games. They're leaving early. They're playing around on their phone. So try not to do that. Try to do something where you can actually learn something. As I mentioned, I gave a lot of ideas before, but like be valuable. Learn social media, learn marketing, learn email marketing, learn sales. Spend your time learning things. Um, Watch my videos on Podiatry Practice Mastery. Join the Practice Mastery Academy. There's tons of resources there, and you can use your time in between patients to kind of do that, and then learn billing. Okay, so those are mine. If you can learn billing, I think that is something important as well. I'm going to go from ChatGPT, some of the additional things, which I didn't include, but they're good. Be punctual and reliable. I think punctuality, we've never had anyone that's late, but being punctual and reliable, like don't call in sick all the time. Be a team player and willing to learn. I think being nice to the staff, I think, is real important. Communicate effectively with patients and staff. I think that's something real important. A lot of us aren't the best communicators, both communicating to them and also communicating in written form in your notes, and then whatever other way that you're communicating. I think that's important. And just to do what you say, like if you say you're going to send them information or you're going to follow up with them, follow up. Stay up to date with the latest treatments and technologies. Once again, bringing in new technologies, this can really benefit the practice. Be empathetic and compassionate towards the patients. Real important for your success as a doctor. Just being nice. I think don't. I always think about. I know I talk a lot about the revenue and profit and things like that, but really being nice, I think, is key above all. Being nice and kind to patients, they're going to see that. They're going to refer others because of that. They know what you're kind of looking for. Maintain a clean and organized workspace. Once again, we didn't have any real slobs around here, but I guess that would make sense. If you're a slob, don't be a slob. Keep your place clean. Except me, I leave this coffee cup here that I'm looking at right now that has probably not been washed in about a month. And I just keep adding coffee. I don't think I'm gross because of that, but anyway. But leave your space clean. Set boundaries and expectations with patients. Follow practice protocols and procedures. I think this is a key one. The protocols and procedures determine how your practice does things and kind of follow that. If you don't have this, underneath this video, I'm going to put a link to some patient, some like new doc. It's called their new doctor resources. These are the same resources. It's a Google Drive folder with the same resources I give to the new doctors. And in there specifically, I have my links to my patient presentations, which basically are my protocols of how I do things. And then within there, also my treatment sheets, which explain have all these little one-page treatment sheets of how I treat things. And you can make them your own. You can just download them. And if you there's a download button for the treatment sheets, you can do that. Slides you have to make your own, but download the treatment sheets and then you can just kind of make them your own, and that just kind of as a visual method of like triggering what you're going to do for patients. I think that's a real important thing, following protocols and procedures of how you guys do things, and learning all the procedures as well. I have I'll put some stuff on for procedures for you as well, all the procedures that we do in the office, so you can kind of get an idea of procedures as well. Okay. And then seek feedback and constructive criticism. I think this is something I've really never had anyone ask me this, but I think that would be great. Like, what can I do to improve? Like, what could I do to be better here in the office? No one's really asked me that. We're usually having to go towards them. Okay, so those are the things to do. That was the ChatGPT ideas. Okay, now I'm going to go into the things that you don't want to do. And I mentioned some of these before. So don't play games on your phone or complain it's too slow. Go kind of be proactive and try to get patients into the office. Don't complain about money. Like, oh, I don't make this much or such and such, because the money will come over time when you get busier and provide more value. Try to be more valuable. Like, how can you be more valuable and help other doctors, shadow other doctors, learning what they're doing, going out and helping patients to come in. Don't complain to staff about we had one that not earning enough money. Like, don't complain to the staff. You're by far earning much more than any of the staff, so don't complain to them about that. Don't be unethical to increase revenue. So I think this is a real key point. I know I'm a big advocate of trying to produce the most I can, but you have to be ethical with everything that you do. So don't do it by not being ethical, like doing things that patients don't need or writing things down that you didn't do. Like, this is not. It's a long game. Okay, as a doctor, so you want to do always what's ethical. You want to do what's most profitable, right, and beneficial for the patient. But you always want to be ethical. So don't do that just to increase revenue. Okay, you always want to just document what you do and do what you document. Okay, I know we've had people that might change things around, or an example of a doctor that I guess they were referred over from another doctor for shockwave, and then they were concerned that they wouldn't get paid for 2 office visits the same day, so they had them come back the next day for the office visit and the shockwave instead of that same day. Just do what's right. You might not make as much, but just do what's right and best for the patient, what's most convenient for them. So just don't switch things around. Don't change charts or not finish charts. So don't change charts. Once again, just for because that's just wrong. It's all documented. And then don't not finish charts. So if you're having, like, there's usually like a dashboard where you can see what notes are unfinished. If you don't know how to do that well, ask someone else. And don't just bring problems, kind of bring solutions. A lot of times if you're just complaining, that's no good. Try to bring solutions. And then I have some from ChatGPT, some ideas here. So don't show up late or unprepared. I think that's key. You don't want to show up late. You want to get there a little bit earlier. Be prepared. Kind of look at your patient schedule. See what they're coming in for. I think that's important. Don't gossip or create conflicts with staff. That's something that's kind of a pain. We've had people a couple of times that have done that, just conflicting with staff. The staff are there to help you. Be nice to them. Don't create that type of conflict. Don't rush through patient appointments, especially when you're starting out. Like, give them all the time. Like, let the patients talk, listen to them, ask them about their family, develop small talk, make friends. Don't rush through the appointments initially. Don't be dismissive or uncaring towards patients' concerns. For many times when we see things, sometimes, and this even happened to me in the past, like, it's such a simple thing that they're talking about, and we just want to dismiss it like it's no big deal. But for the patient, if they're bringing it up to you, it's a big deal. So listen to them, be empathetic, repeat it back to them. Nowadays that I'm using my scribe Morali, patients tell me, and then I'll repeat stuff back to them. Also for Morali to know what's most important when he's documenting, but I'll just repeat that back. I think that's important to show that you care and ask them questions about it. Don't overstep boundaries or promise unrealistic results. Like, don't say, this works 100% of the time. I try to use some statistics to help out. I'll say, like, this works, Shockwave, I think, works 85% of the time. Swift might work 90% of the time. Nothing's 100%. And don't discuss patient information outside of the practice. So be careful of, like, HIPAA, patient information, patient images, things like that, X-rays that you might see. That's a cool X-ray. Just don't share. Really be careful about patient identifiers. Don't ignore established protocols or try to reinvent the wheel. Like, what's working, I would say it's the same thing with residency. When you're in residency, you learn how to be attending, does the surgical procedures, and then you can ad lib on your own after you figured out the way that they do it. Learn how they do it in the clinic, and then you can make it better. Don't try to make it better before you actually learn what's there. And then don't be resistant or to feedback or defensive. I think that would be something if I could go back and maybe ask the new associates that started here, requesting feedback or giving them feedback periodically, I think is one thing that we didn't do as well, and I think it would have helped them. So hope this was beneficial. These are some of the do's and don'ts to be a successful associate in a practice, how to be valuable for the practice. I'm going to put some stuff underneath in the description, wherever you're listening to this, some information about some of these resources on Google Drive, some of these resources that we give to new patients, or sorry, not to new patients, new associates when they come into practice, for you to look at. They might be helpful for you. Okay, thanks.